Hi, so in this video I'm going to try and make a mason jar from some basic shapes that are already within ScanNCut canvas, and I've got an idea to make it and decorate it up. It's not an original idea. Things like this are on Pinterest normally, all the time, but this is my take on it using ScanNCut canvas. So I'm going to come to the basic shapes. I'm going to come to the rounded rectangle, the fourth one along on the third row. I'm going to hold the shift key down and rotate it, which keeps it perfectly vertical, and I'm going to drag it up and make it bigger. I can always resize it once I've got it all made. I'm going to come down to the rectangles and I'm taking this one here. I'm going to shrink it down a bit. I'm going to select both, go to Edit, Align, Center, and then Edit and Weld and see how that looks. And actually that looks okay. So now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to come to the circles and I'm going to grab an oval, and I'm grabbing this one here. I'm going to position it over the top. I'm just going to take it down in size ever so slightly. I'm going to duplicate it 2 more times and put one on one side, and then the other one I'm going to overlap, select both, edit, align, center, and then I'm going to go edit and weld and see how this looks. That might be okay. I'm going to bring this one back in, squash it down a little on the corner, and then drop it down a bit and then position it over. And that's going to be like the shadow for the lid. So I think this isn't looking quite right, so I'm going to undo, keep going back until I get the 2 circles, and I'm going to overlap this a bit more. Select both, edit, center, and then edit and weld. And then see how that looks. Okay, I'm not happy with that, so I'm going to get rid of that, and then this one I'm going to squash it down a bit and then create 2 more duplicates, and we'll try again. I'll line these 2 up, edit, center, edit, weld. That looks a bit better. Now I'm going to bring this one in and shrink it down from the corner and squash it down a bit in the middle. That's better. That looks more lid-like in my opinion. So now I'm going to create a matting layer for the main body of the bottle. So I'm going to select that, I'm going to go to Edit, Offset. I'm going to use 0.16 inward and say OK. And that looks okay. And then I'm going to come back to my basic shapes and grab a rectangle. This outer jar is 4.73, so I'm going to make this the same. So Properties, 4.73. That should fit over there. I'm not sure whether it's a bit too high. I'm going to make it 2.25. So with this one now, I'm going to create a matting layer again. So I'm going to go to Edit, Offset. I'll make it 0.08, I think, inward and say OK. So I've got my main jar, my matting layer, my label, and my matting layer, and my lid, and my shadow. I'm going to drag a box around everything, go right click and group and see what size it is, and I'm going to make it bigger. So I'm going to drag it out by a corner. Obviously you can make this any size you want, you can make it smaller or bigger. I'm going to play around with the size, I think. Let's bring those two down a bit. Select both, group, see what we've got. If we can make it a little bit, might make it a bit wider, maybe 6 inches wide, something like that. So that looks okay, I think. Give it a name in the project title, save it, download it to my machine, and then in the next part of the video I'm going to show you my idea for decorating it. Okay, so to save a bit of time, I've cut my jar from some chipboard, the kind that I used in the cat board game project. If you've seen that, it's on my channel. And I also cut it again in a piece of craft card, and I've stuck that to the board using a wet adhesive. And because this board is white, I've gone round the edge with a brown marker just so the edges are not showing as white. And then I've done the same with the top, so I've cut the lid in white. This time I've covered it in gold card, and I've gone round the edge with a brown marker again. And then that's the kind of shadow bit that makes it look like a lid, and that's going to go on there. Now I'm going to cut some patterned paper as a matting layer, and I'm going to cut my label thing that goes across the front. But before I do that, I'm just going to have a bit of a play. Now I've got my iron on here, and I've got my hot glue gun on, and this could all go horribly wrong, so keep your fingers crossed. This is that foam stuff. I can't remember what it's called. It was kind of popular earlier on in the year, and I bought some. I think I got it from eBay, and I've just had it in a drawer and not done anything with it, so I thought I'll try and use it in this project. I think it's called something like Formiran or something like that. I think it's Formiran if you Google that. And I've cut 2, and I've cut them with my ScanNCut. Now, don't use my settings because, you know, my blade's been in a while and all machines are calibrated differently. But I did a test cut, and it took me a couple of goes to get it right. But basically what I used a cut pressure of 0, so no cut pressure at all. And I used my regular standard blade, the one in the turquoise housing, and I used a blade of 8, and then it cut these perfectly. And this shape is a pre-installed shape from within the ScanNCut machine. So I've seen this done on the net. As I say, I've never tried it, so you know, we can see what happens. I'm going to fold it in half again, and then just fold it in half, or fold that last petal around, because this is an odd numbered petal. And I'm just going to give it a squeeze and give it a bit of a turn on the end. Don't know what it's going to do. It should kind of crinkle it up a bit, but you never know. Then I'm going to undo it, so it's looking like that now. I'm going to get a ball tool, and I'm just going to place it on here and hold it in the middle with the ball tool, and it's starting to shrink. And then I'm just going to let go and let it drop down, and I'm going to do the same with this. So I'm folding 2 petals together, then folding those 2 that are pairs together, and then putting the last one on. It might not do anything, but I was hoping it might kind of curl the ends, but it doesn't seem to be. So anyway, we'll see. Give it a bit of a twist, open it out, gently just keeping my fingers away from the iron and letting the middle bit hit the iron first, and just holding it into place. You could use a kebab skewer, a wooden skewer, something like that. Although this has got a metal end, it's got a protective cover on it, so it's not getting hot down here, so my fingers are pretty safe, I think. And then I'm just going to let it fall to the ground. And I think that's the only thing I need my iron for, so I'm just going to turn my iron off and put it out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to unravel my flower, and I'm just going to layer it up, I think, on top of its, not sure how this is going to look, but I think I'm just going to glue it together like that, one on top of the other. Don't think I want it that way up. I think I want it, you can see how it's curling, so I'm going to turn it that way over. I'm just going to bring my glue gun in and my silicone mat, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the middle and then place this one on top, kind of so it's a bit offset, and then I'm just going to use my ball tool again just to hold it down in the middle until it hopefully sets. So now I've got something that looks like that. Not sure whether this is going to work or not, but just an idea I had. So I'm just going to put my glue gun to one side for now and move my foam out of the way. And I'm thinking that I want to make some kind of a rustic bow. So I've got 2 bits of burlap. I'll just move that out of the way. Just turn my paper over so I can tell you how big these are. So this piece is about 7 1/4 long by, I think I did it an inch, 1.5 inches wide, and I've just flagged the end, so you just cut up with a pair of scissors and then cut from corner to corner. So that's that. And then this piece is about 10 by 1.5, and I'm just going to fold this in and glue it to itself like that. So again, I'm going to bring my mat in. I'm just going to find the middle, put some glue along there and bring that one in. Put some more glue and bring that in. And again, I'm just going to hold it down with this ball tool just so until it all sets. So that's what we've got now. Now I've got some jute string here. So I'm going to leave some excess because my idea is I want to tie this up in the middle and then put this button on it. Like I say, I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll see. So I'm just going to tie this string around the middle a couple of times, and then I'm going to tie it in a knot. So I'm getting something that looks like this, and then I'm going to thread each end of the string through the button, and just tie that on top with like a rustic knot. Might have to tie it a few times. And then I'm just going to cut that. And the burlap will start to fray because I've not edged it or anything, but you know, that's kind of the look I'm going for. So that's that. And then now I'm going to take this piece and just fold it in half on a kind of an angle and apply a little bit of glue just in the middle to hold it down. And again, I'm just using my silicone mat. So I've got that, and then I think that will sit on there like that. So I'm going to put some glue across the top of here now. and press that down firmly until it grabs. And I'm doing this now so that this can all be kind of drying. So, you know, before I start trying to assemble it all and see what I'm going to do, because I've kind of got the idea in my head how I want to decorate this, but I've not, you know, I've not practiced it or anything like that. So that's my bow. So I'm just going to leave that on one side. I've got some liquid pearl here, but I don't know if there's any in it. So I'm just going to, oh yeah, there's a little bit. So I think I'm going to just add some little dabs of liquid pearl. It's kind of like stickles in the middle of here. Don't know what this is going to look like, as I say, you know, it's just, I'm just playing really. It might be rubbish, but you know, oh, just some like, so it kind of looks like little stamens. And I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute. So I'm going to move the glue gun out of the way for now. And now I'm going to cut the matting layer to go on the front of here. So I'm going to call up the pattern which I've saved into my machine. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to edit out the bits I don't need for now. So just hit the delete. Just check I've got the right size. Yeah, so get rid of the bigger one. So I just want the inward offset that I made in canvas. This is some old K & Company scrapbook paper that I've had years, so I thought I'd use this. I think I'll do a background scan. I'm going to say OK and cut. And while that's cutting, I'm just going to glue this onto here with the hot glue gun. Oops, got that all over. Some stray glue there, so I'll just have to wait till it dries and then pull it off. So that's how the lid's looking now. I think I've just got some glue on the back of my mat somewhere. Let me just check that this is cut through. It's not quite cut through, so I'm going to send it through again. Time. So this is going to sit on there, with the border all the way around it. So I'm going to use my glue runner and just try and get near to all the edges. So that's how it's looking now. Then my lid needs to go on, and I think I'm going to hot glue this on. So I'm going to put some glue along here and then position that on it. So bring my silicone mat in again, getting all tied up in the on there, apply some pressure for it to take. I think sometimes when you're doing projects like this that, you know, are a bit more substantial, a hot glue gun is better. So that's how it's looking now. I want to cut my label for across the front, so I'm going to go back to my design, put another piece of craft board on my mat, I'm going to take the blade up for this. Go back to home, find the pattern again, which is saved in the machine, and get rid of everything except the label that I want. Okay, that's cut. I think I might cut a matting layer as well from paper, so I'll put the paper back on. Could have done this before really, couldn't I, but I didn't think. Just rub this down. I think this mat is getting ready for it to be restuck. Up here. Okay, okay, cut. That's my matting layer for my label, which I think is going to go on there. But I think I might raise this label, but I'm going to stick this flat on here. I'm just going to stick this centrally as best I can, and then I think I'll put this on 3D foam. As I say, I've not made this. This is the first time I've made it, but I'm just playing and just, you know, seeing how it turns out. I'm going to put one in the middle, bit of stability. Just find one of my pokey tools so I can rip the backs of these adhesive pads off. I'm going to put that on there. Like so. Then this I was thinking about putting either in the middle or on an angle, like that. And then my little flower I was thinking about putting on there. And then I may cut some vinyl from something that's pre-installed in the machine. I think there's a Happy Christmas or something like that, and put that on there, or maybe on here. Before I do all that, I'm thinking I might add some dashed lines. So I'm going to use a brown pen and I'm just going to add some dashed lines around this layer of the paper. So I'm going to start up here. Just like stitch lines. So I'll carry on and I'll come back when I've done that. Okay, I've decided I'm going to see if I can cut some vinyl. I've changed my mat because my other mat's not sticky enough. I'm going to come into the words within the patterns within the machine, and I'm just going to scroll down until I can, to see if I can find anything that's Christmassy. There's a Merry Christmas there. Might try that actually. So I'm thinking what might be nice if you put maybe a family name here and then just have Merry Christmas or something down here, and then the bow and the flower. So I want it to go in this kind of area. So let's see. I think maybe nothing more than 3 inches wide. So I'm going to select the word, take it down to under 3 inches. Might do it 2.75. And it's saying at 2.75 it's 0.87 high, which will be just under an inch. So I think I'll try that. I'm going to say OK, OK, and cut. And I'm just going to give this a burnish down on the flat part of the machine. I think this mat's stickier than my last one, so, oh no, see it's not sticking, so quick cutting. Sticky this mat as well. I think it's the backing on the vinyl. I might tape it down. Now I'm going to have to scan it again because I've got my test cut marks up there and I've got where it started to cut there, and I've got this space here that I want to try and fit it in. So I'm going to go back, do a background scan. I'm going to have to bring this in close to me so that I can see it, and I'm going to have to zoom in. I think I might just be able to avoid the cuts. So I'm going to say okay, 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 and cut and try again. This mat is sticky, but I think it's the backing on the back of the vinyl, it doesn't want to stick to it. I'm just going to try and grab a corner and lift it up and make sure it's cut through my vinyl. If I can. Yeah, it seems to have done, so I'm going to unload it. Peel away the masking tape. This is quite thick vinyl as well, so I've had this years, but I don't use it very often, but this was a scrap I found, so I'm just going to peel this away. And then weed out the bits in the middle. And if you don't know what I'm using here, vinyl, and you don't know what weeding is, I've done lots of videos on my channel. And I do have a vinyl playlist, so you can go and have a look at that and you'll see how to cut vinyl and how to deal with it. But basically I'm just pulling out the bits of the vinyl that I don't want on my design. And that's called weeding. Oh, and there are weeding tools and things that you can buy. I'm just using a Stampin' Up piercing tool. Just got one last little bit to get out. Where that's gone now. So that is my Merry Christmas cutting vinyl. Get rid of that scrap. Get a piece of transfer tape now. That's just going to be big enough to go over my letters. Just going to apply pressure because I now want the letters to stick to this piece of transfer tape. And I'm going to peel the transfer tape back from the letters, hopefully. This is quite thick vinyl and I think I've cut through the paper as well, so I'm going to have to come back in, I think, and remove the paper back in, because as you can see I've took some paper with it, so there's paper left behind on some of the letters. So I'm just going to come in and release that paper. So that I've just got sticky letters, and when you hold it up to the light you might not be able to see it, but some of the letters you can see are sticky and some have got paper on. So I'm just going to get the rest of the backing paper off these letters, and then it will be ready to transfer onto my project. And sometimes this happens and you just have to, you know, take your time, and you can see I'm removing the paper to reveal the sticky. And I think I've got it all now. Yeah, all as I can see now is sticky adhesive. So I'm thinking I'm going to put this down here. I might trim some of this masking tape away so that I can get it a bit. I don't know whether to put it in the middle or off to one side or here. Decisions, decisions. Let's see, if we have the bow there and the flower there, and then I think I might give this away. So if anybody would like to win this, leave me a comment under this video telling me what you'll use it for and if you will apply a family name on the label. I think I'll just put the Merry Christmas here. And I'm just going to rub it down gently. And then gently peel away the transfer tape, pulling it back on itself, not ripping it up, just pull it back on itself like that. And that can be reused again, but I'm not going to for this. I'm just going to give it a burnish over with my fingers. So what do you think? I think it's looking quite nice. Don't know whether the bow should go in the middle, and maybe the flower there, or whether the bow needs to go on an angle and the flower there. I think I might put it on an angle. I'm going to stick it down on an angle, so I'm going to put some more glue. Quite a bit of glue. Put it down on an angle, hold it down, give it some firm pressure just so that it sticks. Cut these little straggly bits off, I think. So that's how it's looking so far. My little flower I think I'll put there. So again I'm going to use hot glue for this. Got glue all over my hands now. That's what you get when you use hot glue, isn't it? My little gold bits in the middle are still not quite dry, so I'm trying to avoid sticking my finger in those. So that's how we're looking so far, and I think that would look really nice if you put a family name across there. So what else can we do with it? Let's add a bit of bling. Let's try some of these. Some random little bit of sparkle. I mean, once you start doing things like this, you can just go on and on, can't you? But I think I'll call that a day with that for now. Let me move all my debris out of the way, and then I can show you how it's looking. So that is how it's looking. You could stand it on a stand, you could hang it on a wall, you could put a hook on the back, or you could punch through the top if you've got something like a crocodile to go through all this. But I think that might look quite nice just sat on the side at Christmas, you know. So this is another project from my 12 days of Christmas. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can see all the rest of the projects that's going to be in this little series. Don't forget, leave a comment underneath this video and I'll see if I can draw a winner before Christmas and get it sent out to you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.